Shalom and welcome to the weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. We're continuing our work in Jeremiah chapter 5, looking today at verse 21 as the Lord begins this new oracle introduced in verse 20. He's going to start off with some very, very hard words, not the way that we were taught to introduce most of our messages when I went to seminary. So let's go ahead and read this in Hebrew as we get started. Shim'u na zot am sakal ve'en lev enayim lehem velo yiru oznayim lehem velo yishma'u. Okay, so what do we have here? Shim'u. So here's a good old imperative, and it's going to be a 2MP. You can see that u ending on it, the affirmative there. There's a kal from our verb shema, which we saw in the previous verse as well. So here then, now is our little particle of supplication here. Here now, here then, zot, this. So once again, we have this abstract idea using the feminine here. Here this. Well, what's the this? It's going to be what's following in the following verses. This is still all part of the introduction. And then in the vocative and direct address, people, and then sakal, which is an adjective here, which means foolish. So this is O foolish people. And there is not heart. So here's a particle of non-existence. There is not, does not exist, heart. Now heart obviously being used in the Hebrew sense, not so much in our modern contemporary sense of feelings or emotions, but heart as the seat of the mind, the understanding, the reason, we might even say. So this is a people, there is not understanding, there is no reason. So ein being used in this sense would almost have the sense of without understanding, without reason. Heart in that fuller Hebraic sense. Eyes, so anayim, so here's your dual of ein, which means eye, so eyes to them, so they have eyes, just la with the 3MP suffix on it, so they have eyes, and negation, they do not see. This is actually an imperfect future, but it's used being more in a present tense sense here from the verb, and this is obviously a 3MP kal from our verb meaning to see, and the final hay drops off. So they have eyes and they do not see. We can translate it as a present, even though it's an imperfect. It's kind of their ongoing state, and you can imagine what the parallel is going to be. Oznayim, so this is a kametz hatuf here. That's why we pronounce it oznayim lehem. So ears to them, and negation, and they do not hear. So same thing over here, only with the verb shema being used instead. So they are foolish. There's no understanding. They have the ability to perceive, at least physically. There are eyes and there are ears, but they can neither see the truth nor hear the truth of what is going on around them. And God is going to be much more specific in some of the following verses as we look at that. So let's go ahead and hide our work here and just look real briefly at three translations. The old King James. Hear now this, O foolish people, and without understanding, which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. Just something about the rhythm of the old King James, which is quite strong there. The Tanakh Jewish Publication Society in 1985. Hear this, O foolish people, devoid of intelligence, so without understanding, and not having heart, devoid of intelligence in that sense. They have eyes but can't see. They have ears but can't hear. Again, very good way of bringing that forward. And New Jerusalem Bible, which is a translation, but boy, they really get into almost a paraphrase here, but they're going in the right direction. Now listen to this. You can almost translate this. Now hear this if you were from the Navy. Now listen to this. Stupid, brainless people who are foolish and who do not have understanding. Not using the brain. Stupid, brainless people who have eyes and do not see, who have ears and do not hear. It's amazing. The truth of God can be so obvious and so clear, and yet if we're not paying attention, it can be just so unbelievably difficult. And for God's people to recognize the fact that we are not listening to him as his people here were not listening to him. Well, he's going to specify what he means in the following verses, so check back with us soon as we continue working through this text in our weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. Shalom.